welcome to the Ginger Snaps here. My name is Steven, and today I am coming back with horror movie reviews. Oh my god, after how many months of doing hockey, it's been quite the struggle. And I feel like, what better way to come back to doing a horror movie review than none other than The Thing, released on June 25th, 1982, 40 years ago, and directed by John Carpenter, starring Kurt Russell. Set in the winter of 1982 at a research station in Antarctica, a 12-man research team finds an alien being that has fallen from the sky and has remained buried in the snow for over 100,000 years. Soon it is unfrozen and unleashed, creating havoc and terror as it changes forms and becomes one of them. Now, as everyone already knows, this movie is essentially a remake to The Thing from Another World back in the 50s. Now, of course, John Carpenter was such a big fan of that movie, he even made sure it was played in Halloween. And he was so enthusiastic to do a remake of The Thing, but in a more truer way to the actual novel of Who Goes There. And, of course, with someone who's passionate enough to actually do a movie of something they love and just remake it, sometimes it always works out in the end. And let me tell you guys, this movie, it fucking works. When it comes to a story like this, of course, John Carpenter did make sure that he had more influence on the novelization Who Goes There, and this movie feels that way. If you've read the book, you obviously know that this movie pays more true to the book than The Thing from Another World did. When it comes also to this story and just the claustrophobia of this movie and the whole mistrust from one person to another, it just raises the tension every single time when you see one character interacting with another. Sometimes it's more aggressive, sometimes it's more friendly, but you could tell certain characters just don't like other certain characters. Some characters get along with others. But of course, as we all know, when this thing comes in, no pun intended, they all have to try and kind of band together, but also they can't trust one another. And that's one of those interesting stories because of the fact of course, one of the positives is the casting and the characters. When it comes to all the characters of this whole entire movie, they all nail it. I mean, there's not a single dull character. I mean, some people could say Nulls, or someone can say Palmer, or Copper, or whoever. It doesn't matter. Not any one of them was bad at their role. I mean, like, of course, as we all know, when it comes to the characters of the movie, of course, R.J. McCready, played by Kurt Russell, fantastic in the movie. He always seemed like the leader, even before the events happened in this movie. He just seemed like he banded together, even though, you know, you have Gary, who is essentially in charge of the whole entire camp. He kind of just doesn't really take over, doesn't really take charge. When the whole shit hits the fan, McCready is the guy who does it. But of course, some people just don't trust him. And with all the characters in this whole entire movie, everyone just seems to have nailed their parts. You have the people who are so tense, so afraid, so angry, and you feel it every single damn time when they're talking, they're interacting with one another. They're all in a group trying to go through the emotions that everyone else is going through, but at the same time, not knowing who's the thing now, who is not who they say they are anymore. And that's why when it comes to this movie and the characters, it just fucking nails it. Now, as we all know, this movie is very much famous for its special effects. You know, done by Rob Bottin. What can I say about the special effects? I mean, I don't know. Have a look for yourself. Do I need to say more? I mean, everyone knows the creature effects in this movie, the special effects done by Rob Bottin, are top of the line, one of the best in horror history. I mean, this put Rob Bottin completely on the map. If The Howling didn't, or The Fog didn't. This movie did. And if you guys don't know, the dog creature who becomes the thing in the kennel, if you guys don't know, Rob Bottin did not do that creature. He was very busy with the other creatures, and he decided he gave that project to someone else. That project ended up landing in the hands of the late Stan Winston. You know, the same one who created the Aliens and the Terminator and the Predator, you know? That's Stan Winston. But he never took credit for the role, for the whole entire thing, because this was Rob Bottin's movie. That's how much of a class act Stan Winston was. And by all means, the effects that were made for this movie are so damn top notch. It's like top tier level of special effects, especially makeup effects or creature effects. This movie just nails it to a fucking T. Of course, as we already know, this movie with its ending, this very controversial ending, as we all already know, the last two remaining survivors are McCready and Childs. And there's been such debate if McCready is the thing, Childs is the thing. There's the thing about the whiskey bottle that's actually a Molotov cocktail, and Childs drinks it because he's probably the thing, you know? It's amazing how much a lot of theories have come out. Especially that is the most popular theory that, yeah, Childs is the thing. But it could also be McCready as well. At the end of the movie, what I feel like it is, it's pretty much, they're both not the thing. Because if you guys played the Xbox game, The Thing, back in the day, that was pretty much a very good follow-up sequel, in a way, to this movie. And you know for a fact, if you've played that game, Childs wasn't the thing, and McCready wasn't the thing. So, let's put to bed that controversial kind of ending, that little topic, because I don't think neither of them were the thing. Now, for some odd reason, I don't know why it's heavily regarded as one of the worst themes ever. It's not a John Carpenter theme, obviously, but he did do the theme later on in his career. But of course, the theme for The Thing is so just simple. It's boom, boom, boom. Like, just simple. It just screams claustrophobia in some sort of way, for some odd reason. And that theme is just so perfect for this movie. With everything that has gone on with it, it's just, there's a reason why this movie and its music, its score, it's just perfect. It suits it so well. So why all the fucking hate for it, I don't understand, but it's a good fucking track. It's a good theme. And shockingly, I was surprised that John Carpenter didn't do it. All around this movie, it just, the fact that it's been 40 years and this movie still holds up today, it's still regarded as one of John Carpenter's best movies. It screams how much this movie has stood the test of time. And I have not met a single person in my life who has hated The Thing. There has been one person, or actually a few occasions, where someone would then say to me, I hate horror movie remakes. They're not imaginative. They are not inspiring. All horror movie remakes suck. And I'd sit there and tell them, so all horror movie remakes? And they're like, yeah. Like, so you hate John Carpenter's The Thing. And that's when they forget that this movie was a remake. And they say, well, that's an exception. I'm like, but it's a remake. And you just said all horror movie remakes are failures and they just aren't worth the time. Some horror movie remakes are good. Some are great. And then there's The Thing by John Carpenter. As we already know too, this movie was a massive flop when it was first released. But of course, when it came out to VHS and everyone was watching it on TV or renting it from their local movie rental stores, that's when its popularity came. And of course, word of mouth started spreading throughout all the decades. And now this movie is hailed as one of the greatest horror movies of all time, especially with its special effects, its characters, its story. Everything about this movie grew over time. I'm actually very happy to hear that there was an interview later on in John Carpenter's life when someone finally approached him and said, you do realize that, The Thing is a massive hit now. And John Carpenter was like, yeah, about time. It was such a relief that he managed to live long enough to know that this movie became a hit, because that's all it was. It was a hit, and it was misunderstood, like another movie back in the 80s. A lot of movies were misunderstood half the time, but The Thing definitely was very, very, very misunderstood. And it's a good thing that generation like mine, who grew up in the 90s, who was exposed to The Thing, we got to appreciate it. For a rating for this movie, some people have hailed it as one of John Carpenter's masterpieces. And this is coming from someone who is a Halloween fan. I can say it is one of John Carpenter's masterpieces. It's one of the movies that he is definitely known for. He's known for Halloween. But if you don't know him for Halloween, you know him for The Thing. You possibly know him from The Fog. But The Thing is definitely one of his crowning achievements. And I'm so damn glad that I have watched this at an early age of my life and have grown to appreciate it more over time, and to also talk to other horror fans and hear them say how much that movie meant to them and how much that movie just holds up today. So for my rating, I'm going to give John Carpenter's The Thing a perfect 10 out of 10. This movie deserves it. It's never boring. It's never dull. It's a perfect 10 out of 10. So guys, what do you think of The Thing? Is it a movie that you consider as a masterpiece, or it's one of John Carpenter's greatest? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you also hit that thumbs up if you like this video, and also subscribe for more content. Other than that, guys, that's it from me. This has been the Ginger Snaps here. My name's Steven. I'm definitely not a thing, I'm a human being. And I will talk to you guys later.